Learn Efficient Pharmacology, Pharmacokinetics Part 12, Renal Excretion, a real-life story. In the previous video, we saw the role of glomerular filtration, tubular secretion, and tubular reabsorption in the excretion of a drug by the kidney. In this video, let's see a real-life story as an example. This is the story of the drug Probenecid, how it came to be included in the list of banned drugs by the International Olympics Committee. Probenecid is a drug used in the treatment of gout and is not a performance enhancer. If so, why is it included in the list of banned drugs? The story unfolds when Norwegian officials arrive in the United States in April of 1987. They intended to conduct a surprise doping test on 6 Norwegian athletes training at the Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. Since many doping drugs or their metabolites are excreted by the kidneys, a positive urine sample serves as evidence that these athletes used those drugs. Among the 6 athletes, only one fully complied with the officials. One athlete fled the training area upon the officials' arrival. Eventually, after an undue delay, he and the other 4 athletes provided the urine samples. When the urine samples were analyzed at the lab in King's College London, only one sample showed the presence of a metabolite of methandinone, a prohibited anabolic steroid. Anabolic steroids, or anabolic androgenic steroids, are drugs that improve athletic performance primarily by enhancing skeletal muscle strength. The positive urine test was proof that one athlete had used this banned compound. Methandinone was not detected in any of the other samples. But then why did one athlete flee the training area? And why did 5 of the 6 athletes take a long time to provide the samples? Empowered with the knowledge of renal excretion of drugs from the previous video, let us see how the Norwegian officials unveiled an epic doping scandal. Besides detecting methandinone, the lab report revealed another important clue. 5 of the 6 urine samples had a low specific gravity. This meant that these urine samples were more dilute. This discovery raised suspicions. When urine is diluted, detecting the drug or its metabolites becomes more challenging. So, to avoid detection of drug use, athletes may drink large amounts of fluid or tamper the sample by adding water. The use of diuretics can also lead to urine dilution. But since doping tests specifically screen for diuretics and none was detected in any of the samples, this possibility was ruled out. Now here, only one athlete was proven to use methandinone. So then, why did the other 4 also delay providing the samples, and why was the specific gravity of their urine samples low? Could it be that they had also used methandinone, but for some reason, it could not be detected in urine samples? Now, if methandinone had indeed been used, due to feedback inhibition of the drug, the hypothalamo-pituitary gonadal axis would have been suppressed. This will inhibit the synthesis of natural androgens by the body. Consequently, the excretion of natural androgens and their metabolites in urine would also have been reduced. This was tested at a Norwegian lab. The sample of the athlete who adhered to the testing protocols exhibited normal concentrations of natural androgen metabolites. However, the concentrations in the other 5 samples were very low. But if the urine was dilute, wouldn't that explain this reduced concentration? That is possible. But the concentrations obtained were way lower than what would be expected with dilution alone. This was therefore more indicative of ongoing use of anabolic steroids. But if the drug was indeed used, why was it not detected in the urine samples? This question was yet to be answered. Though they could not detect any anabolic steroids, the Norwegian lab detected high concentrations of an unknown compound in all the samples. except in that of the athlete who complied. The officials were determined to identify this compound. So they sent the samples to a lab in Cologne, Germany, headed by the doping expert Manfred Donicke. There, using specialized techniques, the unknown compound was identified as 4-dipropyl sulfamoyl benzoic acid or Probenecid. Probenecid is an anionic drug that is excreted primarily through the organic anion transporters in the kidney. Methandienone metabolites are also primarily excreted by the same transporters. So, if probenecid is taken in sufficient quantities, it can block the tubular secretion of the steroid metabolites. This is why no anabolic steroid metabolites were detected in the 4 urine samples. With the last piece of puzzle in place, we can now explain the actions of the athletes in the light of the laboratory findings. The 5 athletes regularly used anabolic steroids during training. They might not have expected a Norwegian official to show up unannounced, especially in the US. Nevertheless, they were equipped with Probenecid. As soon as the official showed up, they consumed a large dose of Probenecid. They then purposefully delayed providing the urine sample. This time was required for Probenecid to be absorbed and attain plasma concentration sufficient enough to inhibit the renal organic anion transporters. This blocked the secretion of anabolic steroid metabolites into the tubules. This explains why methandienone could not be detected in the 4 urine samples. To further reduce the chances of detection, the athletes attempted to dilute the urine, either by consuming large amounts of water or by adding water to the sample. This explains the low specific gravity of the samples. But one question remains unanswered. Even with Probenecid, why was methandienone still detected in the urine sample of one athlete? This is because that athlete had not taken enough Probenecid to adequately block the tubular secretion of the steroid metabolites. The perseverance of the Norwegian officials paid off. Justice was finally served. Here is a good to know fact. This is a must know fact.